Hello everybody, welcome back here to the ESL Arena in Katowice. This is the ESL One Cologne offline qualifiers. Got there in the end, as did the Renegades in their last game. There was no tumbleweed rolling past after their performance. They're looking a little bit happier, and unfortunately, of course, we do see the Fluffy Gangsters go home. Now, we have yet another elimination match right around the corner. It's going to be an interesting one. It will be played off stage as well in the interest of time. But Immortals, such a strong performance at DreamHack Austin, incredible stuff at the Americas Minor. But so far at this tournament, they've been dealt a rough hand. Some tough matchups for them, obviously with the unenviable task of going up against the Envy squad in that first game. They lost 16-6, and then having to take on the firing Tyloo squad after that one as well has not been easy at all. But now, of course, we'll be heading into this one to take on Empire, who had a very strong showing, to be fair, on Nuke up against Dignitas. But Cajun B and Co took them apart bit by bit when it came to seeing Dignitas on that CT side. Will we see another crazy map choice here from Empire? That's definitely a question. I'm sure there are many more that you and I have. So for all the answers, we'll pass it over to the expert desk.
Thanks very much, Mitch. Yeah, a lot of questions actually that are being asked, primarily of the Brazilians. I think this is where we're going to start our discussion. I'll throw it, of course, to Vendetta and Metis, who are joining me to discuss our second map of day 3. Now, gentlemen, Immortals, everything suggested this was going to be an easy ride for them. Not only their form we saw over in Austin, not only that, but also just knowing that this is a team that are very, very in close proximity with major champions Luminosity. However, that means they've got 17 rounds in 2 games, and we haven't really seen them show up. This, surely, in my mind, could be quite an easy start for them on the road to recovery.
Yeah, I think you're quite right there. I think they would have had a hard time to actually find 2 harder opponents to go up against, at least with the form that Envy showed on the first day, and with what Tyloo showed us on day 2. So it's not been an easy ride for Immortals. There's definitely been easier paths to go through. So going up against Empire now, I still feel very confident in the Brazilians.
And where does that confidence come from, Vince? Why are these a team? You know, to someone that's unfamiliar, why are Immortals a team that we should hold in high regard?
Recently got one of their first international LAN victories. In fact, their very first one at Gfinity, of course, beating a bunch of fairly decent teams, like Hellraisers on the way there, VP as well. They are a very good team. They've got some star players. They've got some players that would find themselves not of the other top teams in the world. They've got likes of Henny, for example. You've got Bolts as well, who's an absolute monster. So these guys are very capable of taking down anyone on their day. That's why it's so surprising they find themselves potentially getting eliminated today. But I agree with Ben. I think this should be their game against Empire.
It is crazy that just one map determines their fate for the $1 million major. It's all on the line, and the map is on its way to revealing itself. Train Cash does too have all been removed already, and I'm going to kind of put this back over to you guys as we do see Nuke removed by Immortals. Let's not forget that that was played by Empire, and that was their choice.
Yeah, it definitely was. And, well, the Brazilians, they do not play it. I'm expecting Overpass to come in, and there it does as well. A bit surprised by the instant train veto coming in from the Brazilians. I would have expected Overpass or Nuke to be actually one of the first ones.
That's as a result of it probably being the best map of Empire. They currently have, I think, 4 wins, 1 loss, somewhere around that mark. They've beat some decent teams like Fluffy Gangsters, for example, in the recent past. So, yeah, respect ban right off the bat.
I think it's very likely that we're actually going to see Cobblestone here. It's a map that both teams play. Unfortunately for Empire, this is probably the best map for Immortals. They've been having amazing results on this map, and it's a map where they play very similar to what Luminosity did when they started to gain traction as well in the top scenes. And not a lot of people seem to be able to fight that or combat that very efficiently. So Empire have quite the task ahead of them.
We did see Empire on Cobble. It was a loss versus Cloud9, which I would assume in your eyes does not bode well coming up against a stronger American presence.
Well, sure, but we have to take into consideration that they didn't win a single pistol in that game versus Cloud9, and they still got 12 rounds. So that does say something about, I guess, their standard rounds, their buy rounds that are pretty solid. So, you know, in that way, sure, Immortals are a better team, but if Empire can actually pick up a pistol round here or there, then that could definitely spur their way forward.
in a similar vein, what you gave me with Fluffy Gangsters, Vince, was a list of names. Now, I'd like to kind of probe you with... I'd like to probe you. I'd also like to talk about Empire.
Wow. Maybe after dark.
Okay.
On the stage,
I mean, you're right. It's a bit
Starting
early afternoon, and I want to probe Metis. But yeah, let's talk about some of the names that stood out to you. I mean, for me, it was just on Nuke in particular where Cyberfocus came into focus.
I was going to say, obviously the AWPer, he's a player that you're looking to make the plays as well, especially on a map like Cobblestone, where you can go very different areas of the map, you know, on both sides of the coin. You can go on the CT. You saw yesterday a lot of aggression through B long, also A long as well. So, yeah, Cyberfocus for me has to deliver. Otherwise, Empire will not have really much of a hope.
Comes as a surprise to me, Ven, that we aren't talking about Kucha being probably the most experienced name on that list.
Yeah, he's going to have to be the calming factor really in that team. And he has been playing well, actually, as well, ever since he joined the team. So he's definitely going to be a big impact. But for me, I'd rather see... I'd go full Anders here and say that I'm expecting Electronic to be the ace up their sleeve. Young kid, talented, and has had great games on offline event, at offline events previously. Obviously, though, versus other CIS opponents, so this is going to be a bit of a different challenge. But still, that would be at least a lot of fun to watch.
It does seem like the CIS region just likes to pump out young, exciting talent. Like we've been talking about a lot of these, both the minor teams, but also just the qualified teams, and everyone, you know, it's this youngster Zero, it's this younger player Oscar. You know, all these names that are kind of getting onto the scene, all coming from that same very region. Kucha, of course, now getting to control the abundance of them over under Empire flag. I'm going to poke you quickly for predictions, and it's a quick one for this time, gents. Are you going to, you know, stick to your guns, go with the Brazilians?
Yeah, easy quick answer. Immortals.
There you go.
Yeah, Immortals, yeah.
All right, so it does look like it could be the end of the line for Empire, but it is truly, you know, Counter-Strike. Anything can happen, and it is just one map. It's going to be between Immortals and Empire. It's a battle for survival and trying to get one step close to the $1 million major. The casters will enjoy this one on Cobble.
Certainly will do. This is going to be a really big matchup. Personally, I absolutely love watching Immortals on this map specifically, and then you apply the fact that Team Empire as well are just as proficient. I think we're actually going to have a very close game here.
Yeah, absolutely. I would like to say, though, that this, in theory, should be pretty straightforward for the Immortals.
It should be.
They've been struggling here. And again, it's that weird story that, like, all of a sudden, as soon as they come to the major qualifiers, everything seems to drop off for those guys.
Yeah.
But this time, there's actually, like, precursors to it in that they lose Peacemaker, struggling slightly after that, but it didn't seem like it was to such a big degree. And not only this, but Bolts as well. It's
Correct.
flatlining over the past couple of days so far, so we're going to need to see him step up here if we want to see this one be a much stronger match for the Immortals.
And I think the correlation between the Peacemaker comment and Bolts playing a lot worse is actually very evident in the qualifier. Bolts has been, I think he actually picked up a lot of the calling side of things for these guys, so I think you're seeing a massive impact in his actual performance. He was very lackluster in one of the matches just a couple of days ago. I'm trying to think who it was against. He went like 10 to 20, which is ridiculous for Bolts. He used to be such an impact-based player, but for him to not have a good game, that's where my eyes will be focused on, because normally this is very much a bolt hold for the Immortals. This is one of their maps that when people left it in the map pool against them previously in maybe earlier tournaments, I was like, are you seriously leaving that in there? Are you underestimating these guys? What's going on? And then they'd absolutely trash people who are very, very, very good at it. But the Immortals are no slouches here. These guys can put up performances, and they highlighted a couple of names there. Kucha, Cyberfocus, Electronic as well. Another big name we're going to be looking at here on this one. And we are live into it. CT side will be Empire, T side will be Immortals. And I am so excited to see how this goes. I'm hoping we get to see a drop split coming out, but no, Immortals not doing their infamous play that caught many off guard in their previous matches. Going to be switching up here with a massive presence towards long.
Spaz is going to be the one that has to spot this. He's actually been quite an important player so far from Team Empire here now. Quite a few of the last matches in those more clutch situations, but as they work their way back in, Showtime and Phelps are finding the first two marks, taking down Kucher and Spaz. So unfortunately, the A site defense just gets absolutely washed away. And now for Spiker and Electronic, they're going to have to try to find a way back in.
And look at Henny as well, in the perfect position to go on the flank here, but they don't need particular help at this point. Lucas and Phelps have it under wraps, and there's Henny to close it down as well. And bear in mind, he is the outstanding player on this map, statistically speaking, and if you just watch the impact he can bring, his timing is generally fantastic, and I'm hoping we get to see him on the AWP pretty soon as well, see how that comes out to play. But already, 3 rifles to be picked up by the T side. Showtime, Lucas and Phelps going for that. 2 SMGs to try and build up that bank. So imagine the Bolts and Henny will be the ones leading the charge here. On the other side, a decent buy back into this. You've got a lot of 5.7s, and I know these guys on the Empire side can do work with them, so I wouldn't write them out of it just yet.
Started off again. Showtime and Henny making a whole lot of noise outside of the mid-connector and in the middle area towards the A-bomb site, whereas the rest of Immortals line themselves out to push out onto the platform. It's Phelps. Again, leads the charge for these guys and holds a good position, but he's going to have to spot Electronic, who's currently positioned a little bit further below the wall there, I believe. You can see Phelps now clearing out. They haven't spotted anything on the site just as of yet, and Phelps is trying to spot some of this. Fully checking below. A little bit cautious on that one, but there we go. He's able to catch some of these guys now from Team Empire a little bit further back in the transition room. Spiker that's brought down a little bit lower, and Bolts is trying to check it as well. Very, very slowly here from the Immortals as they just inch their way out onto the site.
And if they bite down on the bait of Spiker, that's going to allow a little bit of room there for Electronic. He can't quite get it done. Nice work from Bolts with the Mac 10. Catching out too, and this is a clean site take so far. Very proficient, very clinical. And Cyberfocus, he was over by A, so this is going to be a very, very tough task to do any sort of damage. So exactly what you want. Bolts building up the bank. Henny as well finding a kill. That means money is looking very, very flush for the Immortals now. And while Empire, you know, they have nothing into this round, really.
Surgical, you could say, from Bolts there, finding that second kill. They knew he was there, as they'd already done some damage to him, but even so, just pop it out like that to find the second kill. Very well played by Bolts. Giving the Immortal this swift 2-0 lead here. And of course, we go into the trash round now for Team Empire, where there'll be no investment, and thus probably no hope of them actually winning the round.
A lot of my attention, though, throughout this game will be how the Immortals face going into, you know, an anti-eco kind of, because they struggled against Tyloo just on those sort of aspects. They lost a couple of very influential and very important rounds, but at the moment, Cbble not really bringing much to the plate in the form of Team Empire. So far, a very swift pickup for the Immortals. As you said, though, this is very much a push-to-side round. Maybe even a discussion for Empire how they want to approach it, what have they seen so far. Just keep them their heads back in the game. There shouldn't be much of a loss here. You can see Lucas falling away, allowing Bolts to find the last two to ensure he doesn't lose that rifle. So, yeah, Immortals in the first couple of rounds really keeping the board clean.
At all. Literally, the board is clean.
Perfect.
As Team Empire have not taken in a single member of the Immortals here within those first 3 rounds, which means as well, you just look at the money stacked up here. Everybody's sitting between 5 and 6K essentially here right at the beginning of it, which means even if we do see now Team Empire winning this first round with the guns in hand, they're already going to have to deal with another full buy coming in from the Immortals, and maybe another force after that as well. So definitely not putting them in too good of a position, allowing them to have that good of a build-up this early on. However, Cyberfocus, this was the big player on the CT side yesterday with the AWP, and he's going to start things off again with the first kill for this team in the match.
It's going to hamper a little bit of what the Immortals would maybe have wanted to achieve then, taking away Henny down long, leaving Showtime all to himself, maybe to play just more of a catch-up or a rotate role, see if anyone's flanking around the back. But into the action is Bolts, looking for an opener here towards the site. Actually gets a bit of an angle towards the statue, but can't quite catch out Spaz, who's been waiting quite patiently on the back there. Molly's going to force him out further, so they know that they've got some relative step towards the site itself. And that's going to allow Phelps to really punish that further, but not without a response. Electronics caught him out, so back down to a 4v3 in favor to the CT side. And the last 3 players for the T's Immortals going to make their way towards the site and try and find a way back in.
Showtime with the flashbang over, so we can get some pressure over here towards the statue. But the flashbang didn't really connect that well. It doesn't matter, though. Showtime and Lucas peeking out 1 by 1, able to take down both Kucher and Electronic. Now down a man here. Cyberfocus and Spiker are going to have to find a way back into the site. Spiker still having a smoke to work with here, but they're actually going to take a 2-pronged approach to this one. Cyberfocus being boosted up now to the back, but you can already see the position of Bolts. He now has this lockdown, and he's going to spot something coming from this direction in just a few moments. Team Empire, though, still taking this very, very slowly, despite them having a very limited time, and in fact, they're not even going to be going for it. That boost is just to try and find some exits.
Yeah, and you can't really blame them. Their money being so atrociously low throughout the first 3 rounds, but considering they didn't get a singular kill, of course getting 2 now, but that AWP staying into play now for Cyberfocus is actually pretty important. So I don't think he's going to be challenged out too early. Lucas and Bolts are both going that way eventually. There we go. Cyberfocus will find one and just completely walk away from it, find a new angle to hold and wait for this. So both players do manage to keep hold of their weapons for the CT side, so at least they do have that to work around. Curious what Electronic, Kucher, and Spaz will go for. You know, let's be honest here, Cbble isn't the worst for going on shoddier buys. You can really operate well with those shotguns, you know, Mag 7s and such, but they will go for the Famises, so still a little bit to play with here, and Spaz is going to have to suffer, really, a loss. He does like to play close towards that broken wall by drop, though, so, excuse me, by the B platform, not drop. As Kucher and Cyberfocus will be the ones to have to deal with the vast majority, and already Henny gets himself back into the action. There's Cyberfocus gone, avenging that previous round. And Immortals looking to quicken the pace here towards there. You've got the split from Phelps coming, going to really cause issues. And already Empire being spread a little thin in this.
Spiker looking for a way out onto the site now, but Lucas immediately going to be punishing him when he tries to take up position behind the APC. Spaz now picking up the rifle, hoping to find something himself there, but falls short on his first chance. And again, guys just lining up 1 by 1. You can see the 2 corpses piled up there on the floor. So for Electronic, doesn't want to go about things on the same path. It's going to be moving away out towards mid now. And again, same thing as the last round, lining up for those exits as Immortals continue to dominate here. Now going to be 5-0 against Team Empire.
Yeah, and within those 5 rounds, only, well, 3 kills gained by Team Empire, 2 of those for Cyberfocus as well. So this is not a good sign. It looks like the Immortals have woken up this is something we were waiting for, because everyone's coming in going, well, they're not maybe the favorites for the entire qualifier, but they're certainly very much in the top 2, top 3 at very least. So finally seeing the firepower and the kind of compelling argument for that coming into place. 5-0 up on the T side. Again, though, it is still Cbble. T sides with this much power behind them that Immortals are bringing. Not too unexpected to see a good scoreline, but not to this sort of extreme length, not to this sort of extremity in these. Pretty much the exchanges and trades is unbelievably one-sided. So down to the Deagles, 5-7s and a touch of armor, Electronic and Spiker having a little bit more to work with than the others, but still very, very limited.
Despite the issues here, I always sort of felt like it was Team Empire that we needed to see bring in their A game, because obviously they get the chaos, and yesterday the fact that it's going to be on Nuke, so that map's going to be close regardless, just because teams are so ill-rehearsed on that map, so much can go wrong. It can just be such a jumble of mistakes on either end of that one, so they keep it close there, but I mean, overall, nothing really too impressive on both of their maps from the past 2 days, with the exception of like Cyber Focus. So it was always sort of, in my opinion, Empire that needed to bring their own sort of upgrade to skill here to be able to take this match against the Immortals. And right now, they're just not doing that at all. Phelps is doing work here from the edge of the platform on the B bomb site, taking down 2, and Bolts with this position in the window might just be able to shut down the last 2 on his own as well. There's the first one, jump it up there. Maybe a mistake, because he's now down at 30 HP as well, but he's got Spaz locked down here, and he's going to be able to finish him off on his own, takes him out, and Immortals keep the streak going.
And you've got to kind of split these in two almost, because you've got Henny, not consistently, but wow, okay, this is a response. Triple AWP coming out for Empire. I'll come back to my point in a second. You've got Kucha, Spaz, and Cyber Focus going on that. So the point I was making is that Phelps is having great deals of success just opening up that B site. He's defining everything. He is really leading that play. And then you look on the other side of things, Showtime and Henny doing very well on A, outdoing Cyber Focus, outdoing Kucha, but this is going to be a very tough task. 3 AWPs to take down. I want to see how Empire plays this out.
So the splits on the ops. Cyber Focus positioning himself outside of the A doors. Kucher currently watching out towards A long, actually far detached, and they only have one of them on B, and that's going to be in the hands of Spaz. Won't even really be watching too much in the initial gambit of things anyway, and actually, that's a bit of a missed shot there. Takes a pot shot in his teammate and brings him down to 64 HP.
Not exactly great at all. Electronic.
It wasn't even like they were going down drop, and there was like some communication. He kind of just freaked out of it there and shot him.
Well, I can imagine they're a little on edge here, but Electronic's in a very good position if they don't check this, but it doesn't look as though that's the focus of play. Now, 2 players very much focused towards drop. You've got Henny watching for the spot that Electronic is kind of sat in, or at least by the box, having a look through. Someone takes a swing. Nice little pop flash, or at least a flash came from Spaz there, I believe, to try and allow Electronic to take a peek. Cyber Focus again, getting a little bit pressured here by Phelps already getting himself down towards drop, and Immortals forging some real space to work with in this map, and sadly for Empire, they're not really able to bite back just yet. They better start landing these shots, because that T side is getting extremely close, and the barrel of the AWP just showing around the corner. That could have been so much worse.
A lot of the guys from Team Empire, in the meantime of all this chaos, though, have rotated over to this site. Kucher's the only one that's left back over towards the ace, so they're ready for this kind of a play from the Immortals, despite how late it is coming in. Empire, though, or Electronic, is going to be blind as a bat up on that platform, so Showtime is going to have no trouble whatsoever taking him down. Spaz firing off early there, and they've got him down so low inside of the chicken coop. Phelps along with Showtime picking up 2 kills, but Cyber Focus fighting back a bit. It's not going to prove to be enough, however, as Lucas moves in, picks up the final kill, and an all caps pause will be coming out now from Team Empire, as they absolutely need it here. They are making literally 0 ground against the Immortals and are now deep 7 rounds against them.
Yeah, there is a huge problem coming out for these guys. Looking at the T side, their money is completely robust. They are extremely well set here. And the more important thing for me with the Immortals at the moment is how well they're playing these sides. They ran that timer down to what? 20, 30 seconds odd? Something around that marker? And they still looked extremely good at taking the site. Even with that, the triple AWP didn't seem to work. It looks like Empire just clutching at straws here as to how to answer this.
I mean, here's the thing too: is like they not only get the read of the fact that it is going to be coming to that site. They're able to fully investigate out towards the edge because there's nobody watching for flanks or nobody just trying to make noise over towards mid and whatnot. They had all rotated in except for one op. So you have a double op set up on that site along with the 2 other rifles that are ready to hold that, and you still can't actually do it. And not only this too, but the trades it's like fairly hit or miss. You still allow Immortals to survive that round with 3 players, so not trading very well whatsoever. And even despite the fact you get a full read on your opponent, you still can't hold that out. That is not good whatsoever. So really just needing a moment, not even just to re-strategize, but just to recenter themselves and refocus up here, because this is not looking good. And now everybody on the Immortals, here's the big problem too, 7 rounds straight, and with them being so dominant, basically everybody on this team has over $10,000 post-buy.
Yep. fun times ahead for Team Empire. It's
A lot stacked against them, clearly.
It really is, and this would be such a sad way for them to bow out of this, considering how well they played in their first 2 matches, or how, you know, competitive their scorelines were. They didn't obviously win them out, but they just had such great games. That was the thing, and you saw some brilliant players coming through. You saw some great, you know, I just, everything looked good for Empire coming into this game, but the Immortals have suddenly become the team that we expected them to be, and they look extremely good at it, extremely diligent at it, and now the pistol round coming in for Empire, and they're going to have to get used to this. And again, it's rinse and repeat here for Phelps. He is just powering through this site. And for Electronic and Spaz, I think they're used to being on the hurting end of that gun. There's now 3v4. Phelps is low, and Spiker wants a bit of action, but gets absolutely nothing out of it.
They've got him all so low. Lucas and Phelps at 3 HP. Kucher down at 39, trying to work his way in, and now he's actually brought one of them else so low as well. The 3 remaining members of Immortals all have 3 HP, but he's saving. He's pulling away from this one now. He's going to give it up instead. If he only knew. Their shots firing from very long range, so of course he has reason to believe that these were not connected. I'm sure his teammates were not able to get good enough communication to the fact that he had also brought these other players down so low. But literally each one of these guys is in one-shot territory, and he's not even going to go for it. He's just going to fall away into the tower and let them have an 8th round.
Oh, Delayham just walked past, being abusive as ever. Thankfully not having any impact on the game so far. But yeah, this is an absolute thrashing, let's be honest here.
This round is a shame, truly, because it's like, you think like, oh, why not go for it? But then you have to think the fact that he doesn't actually know. Yeah, he doesn't know that they're that low.
Yeah, obviously you can assume that his teammates maybe tagged them up, they saw a little bit of damage, but you can't account for that sort of damage. But yeah, all right, I don't even know what to say about this. This is just Empire being bent over, if I'm honest. Cyber Focus is on the AWP, so I want to see him do something with this, because that triple AWP, the positioning was kind of curious as well. They had no one on platform with it. It was very strange how they gave up so much room for the Immortals to allow to do all their work, and I wonder if they're going to do it again. A 4-play stack towards B this time for the CT side. Cyber Focus is trying to get up close. He's trying to go for the boost, but Phelps has been outstanding at destroying anything they've been bringing, and, well, Cyber Focus doesn't get the shot he wanted now, caught in no man's land, allowed to back away at least. But Phelps finally taking a bit more damage than he'd like here. This could finally be a bit more of a competitive round. Look at the early damage that's come in towards the T side, and they're still going to go for this.
Electronic hiding out in that smoke right now. Spiker actually finds the first kill, as is Electronic there, so they're making some progress. This could be good now as they move back in here, but the guys on Immortals stationed up on the site. Lucas trying to work his way through the smoke. Sort of maze that's been set up here right now, but they're fading away. You can hear Electronic, but again he strikes, moves in, takes down Lucas, Showtime, and Henny with 2 of their own pickups though, and they have the bomb down, but they've been pushed off the site pretty heavily, and with Henny's missed shot there, he's gonna have to recover very, very quickly. Cannot seem to connect it though, and Spiker and Spaz pick up the last 2 kills. It'll be a full 10-second defuse for Cyber Focus, but there is still plenty of time for that. So finally, the guys from Team Empire have broken the streak, and they'll get on the board 1-8.
Yep, 1-8 so far. I guess it's a step in the right direction. The only way is up when you're sat at that sort of scoreline. Mentally, it must be incredibly tough to find any sort of answer for your team at this point. But Phelps not having the best of a start into that round, probably going to definitely help out here. And Cyber Focus again with the AWP though, so he's been looking for some opportunities, but this is a very different start here. So Phelps is going to be playing the B player, just kind of keeping their attention there, and we're going to have Kucher and Spaz having to deal with the vast majority of the T side. So everyone's going to barrel through towards mid. No one's really watching it. They've double stacked up on long, which can be a pain for the Immortals if they make it to the site without having to clear that. But Bolts is going hunting as well. So already Phelps having success over by B is going to just kind of add even greater issues. Bolts just finds Spaz. Now, okay, Kucher's still in a good position here, assuming the other two can find some way to work themselves into this. So Cyber Focus is going to position himself up by Juliet, just having a look over by the balcony. Showtime has the bomb, and really, if you look at the Immortal side here, they are kind of pincered in. They are kind of locked into this. Showtime's found room for the bomb site. Phelps yet to really get into that flanking position, but Kucher can start using his perfectly. Spots out the barrel of the AWP here. Should be able to get a clean kill, and he does, but it gets traded out very quickly, so still an advantage for the T side. There's Phelps coming into the matter finally through drop. Electronic shut out, shut down. Phelps again with a bit of a headline play from him. 3 that round, Bolts finding 2. Their money is so well robust, they have no problems just buying right back to the perfect buy they need, and Empire being reset.
Phelps is a big man on the map right now, clearly. Obviously just making a mockery of the movement that Team Empire have, constantly just getting right up in their face, pulling off these massive flanks. And again, it's not like he's pulling off these frags after his teammates start things off, he gets the intel, and then he just closes out on that. He's the one leading the charge a lot of the time for his team, and he's still impacting this heavily, nearly doubling the scoreline of his next teammate down. It's not even like everybody else in his team is doing badly, he's just finding all the kills, so Bolt, Showtime, Lucas, Henny, they don't even have to do the work.
Phelps is expecting a player pushed up, but not in close position. It's like that game you played as a kid. If you don't move, they can't spot you. But Phelps, he is this.
You hear the
Mile-away
jumping.
Electronic, bless your heart for trying. But look at this. It's like he's playing bots at the moment. And I don't mean that to be mean, but he's literally just one after the other, lining them up towards that B side and just cracking it open, going, well, we've still got 4 other players who could do well, and bots. They're going to just dive in on a bit of it. At least Coochie's going to find bots. Nice follow-up towards Phelps. But this round is all but over.
It's been caught now, down to 16 HP. Still hugging the statue, but Lucas will be knocking him out of the picture there, and Immortals taking quick control right back into their favor now. 10-1 for the guys here on Team Empire. Buying up once again, but it's going to be a bit of a shaky one. 3 M4s coming in, along with a FAMAS. So for those that buy up the rifles, will be good. But CyberFocus did have to downgrade to a shoddy. Probably going to be playing that either close to Broken Wall or inside of Drop Room, as we'd expect. But actually, no. He's pushing himself out over here towards mid. But we're playing closer to the A site, I do believe, in another angle where it can work in close quarters. This map definitely not a bad map to be busting out the shotgun. Plenty of places, like here inside of the Suicide Steps, that it can be very, very good, especially if you get a lot of players pushing you at once.
All right. Empire still looking for that answer here. And they have so little utility to play with. I don't know if it's been particularly helping them prior to that, but again, Electronic going to have a bit of an angle to work with at least. And this time Phelps not going to be taking that fight, so far Electronic going to get away with it. But for a player that gets hailed as quite an upcoming talent, someone you need to be looking at in the future. I know Anders is quite the advocate for his play. He's having a very quiet game, and sadly for him, he's on the really receiving end of what Immortals are doing. So Immortals taking the time here, a bit of a default play, or at least their set piece towards B, and there you have it. Bolts going to be taking the role there of Phelps this time, removing Electronic from the battle now. Spaz and Spiker going to be the one sat on the side, completely flashed out. Do get taken down, responded by accordingly by Spiker, but now look at these trades. They're so favorable towards the Immortals. Who's just started focusing Kucha, and they're just being swept aside.
Bolts get one of the last kills here for CyberFocus. He will be trying to do something a bit sneaky here, lurking his way around the back to try and catch some of these guys off with the shoddy. And he may be able to pull it off too, considering just how detached he was from the rest of his team. But it's all about finding that positioning in order to do this. And the problem now is that since he's waited so long, some of these guys who started to check for a counter flank now working its way all the way around the map. He's even having trouble catching some of these guys, but now he's going to get himself into a battle. Misses that shot though. It connects, but not enough in order to take him down. And with that, as soon as he peeks out to the open, Henny is waiting for him, and is going to take him out quickly.
They're having nothing going for them in this time, this
Yeah.
map, Empire. It's even just not being able to hit the shots like that, not just getting the perfect connections off the back of it. It's pretty painful to watch, to be fair. 11-1 is not a scoreline you wanted to see. I thought this was going to be incredibly competitive. Looking at Empire previously, they were meant to be able to bring far more than this, and the Immortals' performance up till now had been pretty subpar. Again, you'd argue that Immortals on paper should be the one to be walking away with this no matter what, but their performance hadn't really displayed that up until now, and again, Phelps going back to what he knows best and what's been working. Sadly for Empire, they have to suffer another round like this. Their money has been completely trashed so far. That's a good bit of work. Finally, Phelps gets outdone. Electronic just carving away into this map. There we go. Follows it up well towards bots. And he removes the 2 heavy hitters so far. We've been making that really early headway for the Immortals. So Empire might have a bit of a shot at doing some more damage here, assuming they can find a way to play towards those last 3 remaining players on the Immortals side.
And for the Immortals here now, kind of stuck out of the sight too. These kills coming out very early on from Electronic as he does some work there. Hiding back behind the B site now. But for it's the Immortals that need to try and make up for this now and find a way out into the site since they have such little control, especially now falling back after the loss of their teammates. But Showtime, gonna find a quick way in to drop. That flashbang though might have scared Kucha away, so he won't be able to take him down as of yet. But if he does well, there we go. In fact, is going to be able to pick up that kill into Spiker. Kucha then moving back in, looking for the trade, but the aim is just not going to be on point whatsoever. And not only this, but Electronic just hopping around out in the open there, so it's an easy pickup for Henny. The bunny's dead. And now for CyberFocus and Spaz, they've got nothing left to do. P250's into the site. They're just going to get whitewashed here. CyberFocus as well as the last one left rolling, but the Immortals should easily be able to take them down. Nice comeback from the Immortals, bringing it back from the brink there. And again, they're just going to continue running away with this match, 12-1.
And the Immortals just let Empire make the mistakes, and you can kind of understand one of the players going in on the trade then towards drop. You can see the logic behind it or the instant reaction, but pretty much everything just got put into their palms, and it was like, well, okay, if you're going to let us get back into this round, Electronic, what was he up to after such just a stellar start to this round? Well, there you have it. CyberFocus gets pinned to the wall.
Fun fact, I was just looking at the the thing on the scoreboard that shows you how many players are left alive at the end of the round.
Yeah.
And the closest that Team Empire have come to winning a round just by dispatching of players was on round number 4, when there was 2 left alive on either side. Beyond that, I think there's almost always been at least 3 players left alive in every single round. Obviously excluded the round they
the
did
one
win,
round
but
they did
yeah.
win. All right. So now, buy back in. It looks like Immortals aren't going to just change a winning formula at the moment. Showtime's being far more present towards the play towards A. Keeping Cyberfocus and Kucha very much focused in on the spike. Has actually been pulled away from drop, but only Showtime being found might mean that they can easily power back through, but instantly, here's the response from the Immortals. They try and quicken the pace, but this allowed a bit of a shot here for the Empire boys. Finally, Electronic has a bit of a dance there towards the platform. Henny goes down, that's better. Finally, Electronic finding form here. Double up gets picked up as well, so this could be a little bit of a resurgence. But look how late it is into this half. It's almost too late to be looking at doing this.
I mean, even if you come back at this point, too, you have such a big mental block now, and then, like, all right, we got those couple last rounds, we got the last 2, but now how do we like come back from this huge deficit, 12-3? And in all honesty, a lot of the time, Immortals was walking right over Team Empire. So how exactly do you make up for this now going into a second half? How do you recover such a huge deficit? That's going to be the big question. It's, in all honesty, going to need to start right now, though, with picking up at least these 2 rounds so that they can have some semblance of consistency going into the next half. And these 2 rounds they did pick up were just random spurts where they got lucky with positioning or finally found some bit of skill there to be able to take down the Immortals.
Okay, this is different though. Cyberfocus and Kucha this time, I think they have a good idea of what's coming their way to a smaller degree, that they're actually focusing very much towards long. So it's down to Cyberfocus. He has to be incredibly important in this, as does Kucha. If Empire want a shot at it, here comes a bait shot. Oh, look at the angle Henny went on to just try and make the peak, and actually Cyberfocus gets tagged out of that, has to back away. Bolt's now punishing that readjustment. Kucha just gets wiped aside. Now Phelps coming in on the flank as well, going to add more pressure towards the CD side. Empire having to be pulled left, right, and center here, but they're still just about holding on to this. They're not giving up just yet. Electronic denies Phelps, and now down to a 4v3 though. This is going to be very tough to hold.
Cyberfocus as well, already being shut down by Henny previously, is going to be in such a tough spot to where he can peek out, but there we go. Cyberfocus and Electronic doing some work. Coming down to Henny and Bolts now, but Henny's found a trade on the Cyberfocus, back into a 2-on-2. 40 seconds left on the clock, and that's a great flashbang working its way over there onto Electronic. Forces him away from the balcony, which means they should be able to retrieve the bomb. And just look at this position for Bolts, too. Right up inside of the A main doorway. Going to be right in the face of these players with only 25 HP. Won't work out when he gets aggressive. They are waiting for him here. So now Henny in the 1v2 has to try and pull off a miracle here to make this a 13-2 half.
With so much utility, a player advantage, Team Empire shouldn't lose this. Henny's been able to get away with that plant. The molly doesn't quite reach him, but the 2 players going to walk in. Oh my god, right around the back. Henny, he finds one. It's off the 1v1. Spaz needs to land this to give his team a shot in the second half, and he does do just that. Just about, bearing in mind. But the defuse will come in, and Empire will give themselves a very, very small buffer here.
It is nonetheless, though, still going to be an extremely solid half for the Immortals. 12-3, and the guys from Team Empire really only finding their footing at the very, very end there to be able to bring it back. So with that, guys, we'll be right back in just a few moments with the second half here between the Immortals and Team Empire.
Apologies for that, guys. You may have noticed the scoreboard is a little different. 33 admins took a little snooze and forgot to keep it paused at the halftime break there. So you did miss one round. Apologies for that. Immortals did, of course, pick that one up. Empire still stuck on those 3 rounds, but they're going back in as much as they can. This one, Cyberfocus able to put himself towards a Galil. Tech9's outside of that. Against a bit of a shoddy buy here for the CT side, but they have more than enough rounds to play with.
Cyberfocus pushing his way around very quickly too, just curtailing on the retreat from the Immortals now as they try to take some amount of control, but it is going to be Showtime that starts it off here on the CT side, eliminating Spiker, and he holding the corner by the cannons now, just around the bend here, and he is going to take down one player to start, rounds it out again, trying to find another one, but the spray is not on point indeed. They'll be down to 7 HP after that one, and Cyberfocus and Kucher pick up 2 more after that one. So with that, they've tied it down into a 3-on-3, but Phelps is here. He's ready to frag once again. There's the first pickup down below, trying to chase Kucher. Can't take him down just yet, but now Bolt's coming in to assist. And Cyberfocus, the last one, he does have a rifle in hand, armor behind it as well, but these frags are not being found, and Phelps is going to take him down with the USP. 14-3, 2 away from the Immortals, as they look to shut down Empire and kick them out of this event.
Yeah, I think Empire look already like they're about to walk out of this event. They don't, I don't blame them for not being happy with this, but this is a really shoddy performance from a team that can be incredibly close to arguably much, not better teams, that's incorrect, but you know, having close games previously in comparison to Immortals who got completely shut down. So Empire, I don't know what happened today, what happened last night, but they are not in the right place they need to be. After having very close games against the likes of Cloud9, they had some really good matchups. This is not the same team. Now, Tech9's to boot, a little bit of utility, so this could end up being a good B hit here. They have enough to play with. Then again, 4 plays stacked from the Immortals, certainly ready and waiting to greet them if they do decide to try and go for that side hit.
Electronic and Spaz placing themselves outside of the platform there too, but Lucas is already watching out in the event. They push through that smoke. Won't be happening though. Team Empire taking a fairly passive approach to the thing. It is the default lineup that we've come to expect from a lot of teams at this point. Cyberfocus is starting to shift its way up the steps there, and Spiker will be doing the same in just a moment, as this is going to turn itself into a B hit from Empire. However, the Immortals have a very good read on this, as it is a fairly usual play, and they've already got 4 players here ready to watch, and 2 of them specifically are in drop, with Lucas and Phelps holding very aggressive positions up on the platform. They're going to stop this before it even starts. Their Showtime, though, with a very awkward spot. Unfortunately, he's going to be taken down by Electronic. Bolts trace that back out, but at the same time, Lucas finding only a 1-for-1. Bolts and Phelps coming right back into the fray, though, do pick up 2 more kills. And for Spiker as the last one, he's just going to leap inside of drop and will probably be eliminated by Bolts.
I guess there's a kindness in it being this quick at this point. The Immortals just not letting off the gas here. It's been a, I don't know. This is just straight up assassination of Empire. They are not giving us anything here, really. Immortals, though, on the other hand, looking pretty good going forward. Again, you'd argue the Immortals should be winning this pretty much most of the time, but not to this sort of standard, not to this degree. And yeah, let's see what the Empire boys can bring. Pretty much all or nothing now, 15-3. And Empire, this is not the way you want to be leaving tournaments, but they're going to give it one last good shot here. Already going to find a kill towards Bolts by drop, but this 3-2 split is going to find some issues if Phelps can find a bit of an angle here. But they have the side under wraps. But the bomb yet to go down yet, Cyberfocus could have a couple of issues.
And Electronic finding another mark there. So Showtime and Henny, very low chance of them recovering here on this one. Henny's already been found out, and he hasn't taken down his first target. He's also slowly being sprayed down through the box. Only 13 HP left. He's going to try to pop flash through this one, but he is also being pushed as well by Cyberfocus. Rounds the corner, takes him down, and for Showtime, he hasn't even started his own retake. He's got an opponent on the side. That one's easy to take down, though, as Kucher was already pretty low. I think he was sitting at around 14 HP. So Showtime may just want to consider a save at this point, but no. Goes right out there and gives his life away. Obviously, though, no reason to really save when you're this far ahead. You can always go for that economical damage to try to keep them sort of in control, and it looks like Immortals aren't going to be saving this time either. They're going to go right into it, as Phelps has gone for the shotgun buy, and we've got an op coming into the picture too. Yeah,
Bolt's going to drop that one out towards Henny, so again, I'd still say that Cbble, you can operate with pretty low economies to a degree. The Mag 7s really do play into it recently, the shotguns certainly do, and especially if you can couple that with an AWP. So Henny's going to be up on that, already going to be playing right towards the platform, and don't know if he can go straight up there. He's going to go for the peek through the molly anyway, going to back away from it eventually. Not going to go back for seconds, but while this happens, looking over at Empire, how are they approaching this one? Seems like they're going to be lining up towards that A side, trying to keep this one as much distance as possible. After hearing that AWP rattle off a shot, you might get worried. I think Showtime just caught a glimpse of all of them pouring up towards mid. Phelps on a quick rotate, but he might not get there in time to do as much damage as liked, but he does make it through towards Juliet and Romeo. And now in a great angle, does the first. Spiker goes down, checking it half-handedly, can't follow up, but it allows Showtime a chance, but he gets overwhelmed. Cyberfocus and Electronic doing exactly what they need to keep this round in check.
Not a bad nade there. Brings Cyber Focus down pretty low. Along with, I believe, connecting a little bit there onto Spaz or Electronic. Bolt's looking for a way back in. The flashbang comes down. He loses another teammate, but here we go. There's the shotgun play. 2 up in the air. Electronic and Cyber Focus going down. Suddenly it's tied into a 2-on-2 scenario, but these last 2 kills have to come at range, and that is where Team Empire is going to gain the absolute advantage. Bolts gets decked to the floor, clotheslined by Spaz, and Empire will be finding themselves a 5th round. Not out of this one just yet, but such a huge road to climb back from is going to be, of course, the biggest obstacle they still must work against.
It still gets worrying. It's just, how does Bolts even allowed to do that? I don't get it. All right, so clean eco time. At least they're not going to go for anything crazy. Deagle 578. Fine. Empire. Hopefully don't walk towards A. That's what I'm going to say. At this point, 4-play stack, all lining up here. It's actually quite hard to play against because obviously it's the angles are annoying as hell. So. They might even get a kill out of this. I'd assume they could probably get 1 kill if Spiker, Cyberfocus, or Kucha dares to run that gauntlet. And I hope for their sake they don't and they make the right choices here. Phelps will be found at B. But oh lord, they are coming back round towards A, aren't they?
We can see the potency of this this lineup now. And look at it. So drilled. All literally standing right behind each other here. For the time being, it looks like they're actually not going to send anybody out ramp at all. Everybody's going over towards long A currently, with Spaz just watching for a flank, so this may prove to be useless after all here. But they also have Henny boosted up, so you can call for this early that there's going to be a presence in this direction. He sees him, but he's going to fire very early on there. Takes down the first kill, drops down behind it, Bolts rounds the corner. Electronic and Spaz finding some more trades, but now they got to be careful. The presence coming back out from the ramp too. Henny is going to be able to take down Spaz, but it's into a 2-on-1, and he's got no armor behind this recovered AK, which makes this task a lot more difficult.
Now both of Empire are playing towards the site. We've got Spiker looking up top and he's trying to find a new angle on this one. They know that Henny was around here. He was one of the players to make that first play up boosted on the wall. So basically right now you have Spiker holding the cross through, and I think Henny's deciding what he wants to do in this one, and time's going to be running out soon. So he needs to make his mind up. And the money's not great for the Immortals, so they might just want to go for a bit of a save on this one, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's exactly what Henny's doing. So backing away. Again, good damage though towards Team Empire, but again, they're going to be buying into absolutely every single round. They can't afford not to, so it doesn't... It helps, but it doesn't equate as much damage as maybe the Immortals would like, but it is good enough, considering they're on a very clean pistol round there. There was a couple of upgrades, but not much at all. Walking away with a rifle and 3 kills to boot, not too bad. But for Empire, it's all just getting out those rounds on the board. That's all they can look at, nothing else, nothing beyond that. Get the rounds on the board and keep building back into this game. Make it look respectable, make it look competitive, because that first half was far from it.
Immortals still with a very aggressive buy choices here. Henny going back into the fray with an off, a glass cannon one at that. They weren't able to get armor behind him, and it's his own purchase. So with this combined with the other buys, it's still a pretty decent pickup. He's really the only exception there. They did have to go for 2 rifle downgrades, but the FAMASas are still very capable weapons. We'll see what Henny can do with this one. He's also the player that's playing aggressively right now instead of suicide steps, waiting to catch anybody that pushes in this direction, and also to a certain degree only the A-side defender right now. Showtime's going to be rotating over to his system a bit on this. But still, with him playing this forward, he's basically got 1 shot. If they're all pushing in that direction, he'll be a dead man pretty quickly. However, not spotting Spiker just yet. That smoke, though, is definitely not going to be tossed in his direction. He can see still when they try to push in.
You've seen at least Spiker's foot there, giving away a bit of position in the end. Just firing in, trying to clear some corners.
He's thinking if he wants to take it
Yeah.
from higher up.
It's a bit of a risk, and while this happens, the moment you stop seeing that, hearing those steps, you do have to start kind of tightening the bolts over by B, keeping everything in the right place at the right time, because this is a very slow build-up from Empire, and they're not going to rush things. They're on such a knife's edge here. They can't really afford to be doing that, so these 3 players from the CT side need to be pretty ready for this one. Spaz, Cyberfocus, Kucha, Electronic all start lining up. Showtime even starting to bleed over towards that B site. So now down to pretty much your Bolts, Lucas, and Phelps to create that nice crossfire that could hamper them on the attack.
All's quiet for now, but guys from Team Empire are getting ready to burst out onto that site. Spiker taking down Henny first. When he tried to actually move in for the flank, he's going to be punished big time for that. And now the actual executes should begin, but there is the big stack here coming out from the Immortals as well. And they did move Showtime away, which is even going to lighten the defenses. Phelps going down, Bolts responding, Lucas picking one up as well, but it's still Team Empire leading the way with the man advantage. And with Lucas going down, Showtime, there's nothing for him to do considering he gave up his position on the B-bomb site. So he'll have to fall away and save.
Showtime, off you go. Good stuff from Empire, taking their time on it, building up slowly. Again, I was a little surprised that I think it was Electronic got so much room to work through drop as well. Didn't really get to exploit it too much, but he was allowed so much freedom there. But again, having good success, not being able to do too much. By the time the actual hit did come in from Empire, the complete kind of foray of any utility board into it was gone. There was so little left with Immortals. They had maybe like a couple of flashes, and that was all they could do from it. But actually, Showtime finding an AWP out of this as well. So not bad to save onto that. He can happily hold it. And again, Immortals don't need to rush this one. They're on match point here. They just need one more, and they're pretty much safe.
And it should be noted too, Showtime now recovering the op off of Henny's dead body. May try to get a bit too aggressive there. So at the very least, they're going to be carrying that into the next round. And the real question, though, is what kind of a buy are we going to be looking at beyond that? Again, they could, in theory, justify this, but now I feel like they need to go back to a bit of a more realistic point with their economy. Since Empire, they are fighting back a bit here now. And indeed, we are going to see a much lighter investment this time from the Immortals, just rounding everybody out around 2K so that they'll be able to invest fully on the next round, regardless of its outcome.
All right. So, please don't go towards Henny, is all I'm going to pray. If you have the slight worry in the back of your mind that there may be an AWP here, just avoid Henny as much as you could do. But again, you know, trying to assume where that position may be is going to be a little bit harder in this. Phelps, Lucas, and Bolts, it's going to be holding it down by B, the same old 3. You can see the caution, the air of the real air of caution with Team Empire, not wanting to rush anything, get caught out by a stack or anything coming their way. But this could be another very slow round. They have the utilities to play towards that. They have that kind of smoke, the mollies. They don't need to be half-handed with their peaks. And Kucha taking a risk there to have a little look down. Could have been something waiting on the other side, but they do clear it. They actually back away towards Ace. This is nice. They've paused the rotate from Showtime towards B, and now heading over towards Henny. But that's dangerous in itself. He's already managed to tag up Spiker, but not going to get a kill for the back of it. It might be actually Empire second-guessing themselves and going back towards B here, which actually has those 4 players waiting.
And they go to the site for the Immortals now, going to be trying to hold this off with sticks and stones, basically, compared to what the members of Team Empire have. We've already seen upsets like this before. Bolt starting things off with the Deagle there. The nade rolling in too is going to bring one of the members of Team Empire down very low. Phelps trying to find some shots with the shotgun, but it's not going to be enough to take anybody down here. Lucas so far with the only kill for the Immortals, but he's also going to pick up the second, taking down Kucher. The trades for the guys on Team Empire still too strong, though. And with Spiker and Kucher finding those first 2 entries and Electronic chiming in on this one as well, it does look like the Immortals are going to bow down again. However, Henny chiming back in, and all of a sudden we're into a 2-on-2 now. The biggest player that could get in the way of this is going to be Electronic. While he only has 3 HP, he's still safely tucked away inside a drop, but there's Henny again, and now Electronic's position has compromised him. However, he finds that first shot, but Showtime trades it back out, and that's it, ladies and gentlemen. The Immortals will be taking this match. They survive for now, going 16-7 in this matchup, whereas Team Empire are going to go home, and that will make both of the CIS minor teams knocked out first here at the Cologne qualifiers.
Finally getting to see a glimpse of the Immortals we expected at the start of this tournament, at least on the first half. Definitely a little bit of play coming out from Empire once they got to the T side, but that afterplant situation then, I don't know, that's tough to watch. Really well played in the end on the retake by the Immortals, but a tough one if you're an Empire fan out there. Really not quite having the best of times, but after that start to things, on that first half, even coming back that close to the scoreline it was, makes it look far more respectable than it could have been. But I do believe that's us done for a little while. We can head down to the stage, I think it might be, or actually the analysis desk to take away their thoughts on that matchup.
Thanks very much, you two. Yeah, a little bit of a questionable final round, perhaps. Could have got even closer if Empire had delivered on all cylinders. But if that's the real kind of the bookend for us, is that Immortals have turned up. I mean, that was the performance that we were expecting, especially when we were sitting there, saying a 16-5, a 16-4 score was likely in this game. And it did look like the Brazilians at least started as they mean to go on.
Yeah, no, definitely, and I think this kind of shows why we still had faith in Immortals making it through to the major, even though they started off 0-2, because, well, as we said, a lot harder opponents in the 2 first games, and this is the level that we know they can play at. So, and it's not like they reinvented the wheel or anything like that. Empire, if they'd looked into the Brazilians, they definitely would have known how they set up their play most of the time, but you could see how effective it is and how hard it is to deal with. I think for the better part of that first half on the T side, Phelps was just wreaking havoc, doing the same thing over and over again, getting set up with that one-way smoke at the end of Plateau and just finding picks.
Can you expand on that one-way smoke? Because it was something you were talking about in the green room, suggesting that this was something they perhaps, pinched from Luminosity.
Well, it's something that Luminosity used to do back in 2015 when Bolts was still on the team as well. And at that point, it would oftentimes be Bolts going through that smoke, finding the pick towards drop, because as soon as you basically take away the vision that the CTs have towards the plateau or throw flashes over, naturally reactions are going to come out of the CT side at that point, and one of the quickest rotations to make to kind of help out towards the plateau is from drop room. So oftentimes you'll find an unsuspecting CT rotating over, getting picked off instantly, which again makes taking over drop a lot easier, and your B split becomes so much more powerful as a T side.
Just to highlight that smoke is on plateau.
Yeah, the line's on the, I guess, well, left side of the box is on plateau, and there's a tiny gap that you can see right into drop room with.
Obviously, Bolts has just been like, hey guys, so I had this really cool thing in my old team. Mind if I just copy and paste? Vince, haven't heard from you. What do we think? Is this the Immortals that can do the 3 win in a row to get to the major?
Absolutely. You know, we said it yesterday as well, that even if Immortals do end up going 0-2, as they were looking like they're going to go the way of Dodo, they can easily bounce back. You know, they're a team with a lot of caliber. We saw there, it wasn't just Henny even, actually had more of a quiet game. Bolt stepped up massively in the second half as well, alongside Phelps. So for me, it was just a massive disparity in class between the two teams that shone through today. It's not a great deal of strategic difference, in my opinion. It was just crazy individual efforts.
And from one end of the spectrum to the other, I don't always like to kind of call out players or highlight the real kind of footfalls of the losing team. I do just want to quickly mention the Spiker.
Yeah.
It did look like not only just in this game, but in the 3 matches that they have lost, he has been almost irrelevant.
Yeah, and didn't they drop 2 or 3 bonds as well?
Like
At the start, they started off with 2 new MI6 agents.
Yeah, there we go. So secret agents for Empire, but that is going to be a consolation prize during this game, as that's going to be the end of it for the 2 CIS minor teams. Both Empire and Fluffy Gangsters are going to be heading home with their heads in their hands. And now to talk to the victor, it is of course the coach from Immortals who's standing by with Mitch to talk through that game in a little more detail.
Thank you very much, Alex. We will do just that. The Immortals, now we're starting to see what so many people were almost expecting to see from you guys, especially with how good your performances have been recently as well. I do want to ask the classic esports question. What's the difference between those first 2 days and today's performance?
We actually had a great conversation in the hotel after we lost to Tyloo, because we know that we lost to ourselves. We made so many mistakes that made them win the game, and so we sit down, watch the demo and talk. That's not how you guys play. I just arrived here, but I see you guys playing for a long time now, and this is new. That's not Immortals. I said, if I pick myself and 4 guys from the audience, we would have won. Not make so many mistakes at least. You know, not won. We will probably lose, but not make so many mistakes. Let's focus. This is a major qualifier, and let's go with all and they play like lions now.
I love that. I love that phrase. This is not Immortals. This is not who we are. Who is Immortals? Is this Immortals? Is there another level? I mean, I think we can speak for everyone when we say we probably haven't even seen your final form yet. But if I had to ask you who Immortals was in terms of the qualities of the players and the attitude, what would you tell me?
It was, you mean, and before? They were, I don't know, they were motivated and focused, but not 100%. I don't know why. I don't think they knew the importance of this qualifiers. Like, they are really passionate, and yesterday they even cried when we talked about, because it's hard for us, for Brazilian people, to play on the level from a worldwide level. So when they realized they had to do everything they can, they played better.
It's funny you should say that. It's tough for you guys to play on that level because there's a bit of pressure in the fact that people now start to expect that from teams like yourselves and Luminosity. They expect you guys to come out strong. So, of course, there's some pressure there as well, but you did yourselves proud today, no doubt about it. You're going to hang around a little bit longer. You might have to play 2 more games to get to the major, but there's still light at the end of the tunnel there. So thank you so much for joining me, Zach. It's always a pleasure to have you here for a chat, dude. And there it is. We now have 2 teams going home. Of course, we did see Fluffy Gangsters moved out, and now Empire will have to take a back seat. 2 CIS teams are out of the tournament and 2 more remain. When we return from our break, we'll be jumping now into the pool of teams who have 1 win and 1 loss. And that's no doubt a recipe, some very interesting matchups. So stick around. We'll be back with that on the main stage right after this.